Hi, it's Peg, and today on our Art Joy of Sharing channel, which is a live Thursday broadcast with Shell C, we were working on the Pick a Stick challenge. Now, Shell was doing her journal page, and I did the tag and the artist trading card. So, all I'm doing is taking some dies and cutting the pieces that I'm going to use in my production of the artist trading card and the tag for today. So this is the newest die cut machine that Sizzix has come out with. It folds up and it's a lot more portable than the Big Shot or the Big Kick. And I am using these big dies because they will cut through just about anything, and I've had them forever. If you notice, I have the old red style, which is some of the very first ones that they came out with the old hand press Sizzix. But they're still good, and they still work, and I love my dies. I love the fact that I can cut my tags, and I don't have to go out and buy tags. I can, use my die to cut whatever color, shape, size I want. I'm also going to cut a few smaller pieces, some, what do they call those things? Eyelets? No, washers maybe, to go into the through on the tag. And yeah, I enjoy using this machine. It's a lot of fun. Now, a lot of people have electronic cutting machines. You can do the same sort of thing with them. Um, However, if you're on the go, this is a nice handy thing to have with you. So the post at the beginning of this was the Alter Tag Challenge, and there are 4 steps and what do we call it? Wild card and a color. The color is cocoa, and the 4 steps that are for the month of October are collage, edit, spiral, and humorous. And the what do I call it? Wild card is pen. So I'm going to use all of those. I'm just showing the different dies, and I'm going to clean the little pieces of paper out of the die where it gets stuck down inside. I just use a pokey tool to do that. And we will move on from there. Now for the background collage, I'm going to use some digital imagery that I had exchanged with 3 other artists. If you watched our hops, we have these seasonal hops that we do. And Shell and I are part of that with Bea Grobe and Gina Ahrens. And so I'm using some of those papers today that are left over from my projects from those hops. And I'm just going to pick a tag, glue down my paper, and then we'll move on to the next part of the challenge. Now, I do like to use a glue stick when I'm gluing paper for tags like this. Wet media is okay, but it takes a while to dry, and sometimes the paper gets a little bit ruffled. And I do like a glue stick when I'm attaching, just simple paper to another surface. So that's what I'm choosing to use today. And I'm just showing off the different styles of dies. These are the thick cuts and the thin cuts, and some people have them and some people don't. And I like mine. Some people don't feel the need for them. I've had them for years and years, and they are a permanent part of my craft supplies. So I'm just going to get that glue stick out and attach the paper. Excuse me. And once I've done that, I need to edit. And the color for the month is cocoa, so I'm going to use this dark chocolate brown color just around the edges of my tag, and then I'm going to get some stamps and do a little bit of stamping. That's all part of the editing. Changing my background. These are some Stampin' Up! Stamps in some circle shapes. I think these are from a set from 2007. Don't know if they're still available. You may have to look on Etsy for them if you like them. Not sure what the name of the whole set was, but you know, it's just a circle stamp. And then I'm going to use one of those washers in the hole at the top of the tag. And then the next part of the challenge is spiral and humorous. So I'm going to get out a stamp. This one is an Impression Obsession stamp and some watercolor paper. And I'm just going to stamp this image onto this watercolor paper. And I'm going to use a, what are these things called? Yeah, stamp tool. This one happens to be from my petunia, my sweet petunia. And I have a couple of different styles of stamp tools, you know, because, you know, just like having stamp blocks, stamp tools are something that are handy to have. And then I started cutting it out and I thought, no, I need to do my colorization first. And then I go back to my list and it says spiral. So I'm looking for just a white paint pen. That's a cheap one that doesn't work very well. I'm going to get out a Posca. This little fine Posca you can barely see. So I'm thinking, well, I need a thicker Posca. So I set that aside and I go get my box of Posca pens. And I find the medium point Posca pen. And voila, I can just do my little spiral of dots on the paper with that Posca pen, and you can finally see it. So, chatting with the crowd, you know, if you come in and watch us on the live show, there's a chat box and you can ask questions and talk to people in the audience, and it's just a fun time. You know, we get to talk back and forth with our friends that can be arting along with us or just watching or maybe even sitting at work and listening. You know, that's kind of what we do each week. So I'm going to get these Zig Clean Color brushes. And I'm going to just colorize this stamped image. Not going to spend a lot of time doing fancy coloring. I'm just going to get some color down. And maybe a little bit of shadowing here. You know, we are not flat people. We have surfaces that reflect. And there is that orange. Yeah, you know, the orange and the cocoa are part of this month. So I thought, well, I'll just put that on her little tutu, her leotard. I guess it's not a tutu, it's a leotard. And have her be a very vibrant, pumpkin-y sort of ballerina. Kind of the way I look and feel when I'm at the gym. So, these Zig brush markers are easy to use, and I like the tip of them, and they flow quite nicely, so I'm just going to continue my colorization with them. I don't have a lot of the colors, but you know, I have an adequate supply to just do what I need to do when I want to create a colorful image. So we're chatting about, you know, things that went on in our lives and what the weather's like and who's at work and what are they doing? Are they playing along? That kind of stuff. That's what we do. And I'll fussy cut this out and I'll speed it up even a little bit more because it takes a little bit of time.
All right.
So that was fun. Now I'm just getting my quote ready. I'm using some archival ink to tone down that white, and I will glue that onto my tag. And because this is about humor, of course I have to have something that's a little bit funny. So that means we're about ready to move on to the next thing. The Artist Trading Card Challenge. That's humorous card, pen, spiral, and the color orange. So there's only 3 things that you need to do plus the color for this one. Artist trading card is 2.5 by 3.5 inches, which is a small piece of art. And I'm going to use another piece of that digital imagery along with this watercolor card that I had painted up previously. And I'm going to use a couple of tags, because we cut out a bunch of tags. And I have something in mind because it's saying card. Well, we're using cardstock for the background. We're using cardstock for the tags. So it's all good. It all works with the challenge. And I'm just going to stamp this image onto one of these tags. Now, my preference is always the red rubber stamps. These are the polymer stamps, and they just don't stamp as well. And because this is a new stamp, it's really not stamping well at all. It's not been conditioned. I have to stamp it, I think 4 or 5 times to get the image to come out correctly, which is why the stamp platform is a big help when I'm trying to do something like this, because people can get frustrated trying to stamp with these polymer stamps. It's not you guys, it's the stamp. I'm just saying, you really want to get red rubber if you can. So the reason I'm using that is because of the spiral prompt. It's got this chicken that's on springs, so it's like a spring chicken. Ha 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 ha. Here comes the humorous part, right? So I'm going to use those Zig Clean Color and color up my hen again. This is more like a Rhode Island red instead of a normal white chicken. There's lots of different kinds of chickens out there. I remember Foghorn Leghorn. He was a funny chicken. I don't think I have any Foghorn Leghorn stamps. I should look into that. Okay, so I'm going to use this piece as a pocket to house these little tiny tags that are going to go into the front of my artist trading card. And I'm going to use some foam double stick tape to give it some dimension so I can tuck those into a pocket and have some room on the front. So I'm just, doing my edging as usual with my archival inks or my permanent inks. I guess these are the Journey inks. And I will get that double-sided tape and start applying it to the back of my paper. I'm going to glue those 2 pieces where I folded it together down so that I don't accidentally tuck something where it doesn't belong. And this is just cheap foam from the dollar store. You can pick this up easily. It comes in these rolls for $1. And I'll glue that to the front of the card, peeling the back off. And that will create my pocket. So once again, we pretty much met the challenge. I do need to add a little humor in here, so I'm using another one of these stamps that I'm not real thrilled with. I'm testing out a couple of different kinds of ink to see if it's going to work. It's a new stamp. It's not stamping very well, so I'm going to get a different type of ink, try it out. Archival ink on those polymers as the first stamp of that image works a lot better. I use a white pigment ink and that didn't work very well, so I'm just brushing that off and deciding I am just going to write that with my Posca pen. And what it says is poultry in motion. because this chicken's on these bouncy springs like bed springs, right? So I'm going to attach some ribbon with my tiny attacher and tuck those into the top of my card. And we will have the second one ready to go. And that's it for this month for my tag and my artist trading card. I hope you enjoyed this. Remember, if you did, like, share, subscribe, and remember to click the bell for notification. And come and join us on Art Joy of Sharing and Pick a Stick Challenge. Bye for now.